Welcome to Now You Know BC. I'm Bob Cronbauer, also known as BC Bob, and on this show I introduce you to interesting people, places to go, things to see, things that have happened in the past. You'll hear our collective stories, and this week I'm bringing you some tales about animals who have escaped captivity or who have been let go in the wild in this province. From elephants on the loose in Cranbrook to camels who may still be roaming the caribou, and a frankenfish released into a Burnaby lagoon, to thousands of rabbits you see munching on grass in Nanaimo and elsewhere, and also in this studio that are making me allergic, and that's why my voice sounds like this week. There's animals on the loose, or at least some of them are. Most of the animals I'm going to tell you about are dead. Let's go. Did you know that 14 circus elephants once stampeded through Cranbrook and that some of them hid in the woods for months before they were recaptured? It's true. It was 1926 when the circus rolled into town on a train. And while they were unloading the elephant car, something caused a stampede and all the elephants ran rampant through the town. They knocked down hedges and porches, they ate fruit off the trees, and they scared the crap out of everybody who lived there. 11 of the 14 escapees were rounded up in the first day, and the final 3 that were left to their own devices were named Myrtle, Tilly, and Charlie Ed. I don't know why Charlie Ed got 2 first names, but he did. About a week in, they found Tilly. She was snared by Tanaha trackers and taken back to the circus folks who had to keep their train in town, waiting for their lost elephants to be caught before they could move on to their next stop. Myrtle was on the loose for about a month when they found her with broken toenails, 2 bullet wounds, and suffering from pneumonia. She was in rough shape. So they put her out of her misery right there in the woods, and since she was so huge, they just left her there. And I'm told that local Boy Scout troops would go visit her remains for months after she passed away. Eventually, someone went out and retrieved Myrtle's head and one of her feet and sent them to the University of Alberta in Edmonton, where they remain to this day. Because I actually touched a piece of this skin that they have in the Cranbrook archives, and it is equally as disgusting as you think it is. There are little hairs sticking out of it. Anyways, it took them 6 weeks to finally find the last missing elephant, Charlie Ed, the elephant with 2 names. They set up a snare and caught him by a watering hole he'd been spotted at. And then they walked him back into the town, and it took a full day. That's how far he got away from Cranbrook. The town held a huge celebration for him where he was literally christened with a new name by pouring a bottle of champagne onto his head and feeding him toast. Maybe it was sandwiches, but I think it was toast. His new name was Cranbrook Ed. They loaded him onto the train he escaped from originally, and they trucked him off with the rest of the elephants onto the next town that they were going to. They pulled him out of the circus a few years later, and he went on to star in the film Clive of India with Loretta Young. But his troublemaking days were not over. Cranbrook Ed may have had a peaceful end to his life as he was retired to the San Francisco Zoo, but a couple years after he was put there, he gored his handler to death. And his sentence for that crime, which may have been warranted, was death. He was put down by a firing squad in 1936, but his memory is kept alive in Cranbrook. Ask anybody in that town what the deal is with the elephant statue, local craft beers named after an elephant, everything else that's elephant themed in Cranbrook.
This is the second year the Cranbrook-based artist has put his giant puppet on display.
They'll tell you the story of Cranbrook Ed. And now you know.